This video covers grams to moles stoichiometry. So I've got this balanced equation, and I have 114 grams of calcium carbonate, CaCO3, are made. How many moles of sodium chloride, NaCl, are made? So I've got CaCO3 and NaCl are what I'm looking at. My given is 114 grams of CaCO3, unknown is moles NaCl. I'm going to take my given, 114 grams of calcium carbonate, and I'm going to write that down. I make sure to include the substance after grams. That helps me keep track of what I'm using, because we'll be switching substances. So I'm going to set this up with kind of a grid or a table, and I'm going to try and get to moles of sodium chloride, and let's see how we can do that. So first I'm going to drag down grams CaCO3. I do not bring down the number, just the unit. But I can't get straight to moles of sodium chloride. The balanced equation tells me the mole to mole ratio. But I'm trying to get from grams CaCO3 to moles NaCl. And so that is not going to work with just the balanced equation. I've got to get to moles CaCO3 first. Well, luckily I can do that. I can convert from grams CaCO3 to moles CaCO3 using the molar mass. Okay, so I'm not done yet. I'm not at my unknown, moles NaCl. So I've got to take, and notice those numbers are blank. I haven't put numbers in yet. So I'm going to take moles CaCO3 and drag it down. From there, I can do the mole to mole ratio and put mole NaCl up at the top. So now I have my units all set up, and I want to start plugging in numbers. This middle column here is its own thing. It doesn't have to do with the balanced equation. It's just the moles and the grams. Well, you can find the grams per mole on the periodic table. And so if you look at the grams per mole, you're going to need to find it for calcium, carbon, and oxygen and add them up. Then you can put the numbers in that box. All right, so we've got 1 calcium, 40.08 grams, plus 1 carbon, 12.01, plus 3 oxygens, so plus 3 times 16. If you add all those up, you'll get 100.9. That's the grams per mole. That's the molar mass. So that tells you right there, that's the grams in 1 mole. So 100.09 grams in 1 mole. That mole CaCO3 does not come from the balanced equation. That is because that's the grams in 1 mole. That's why there's a 1. Now we'll look at the last column. That's a mole to mole ratio because moles are on the top and the bottom. When we have moles and moles, we look at the balanced equation. So we get 2 moles NaCl, 1 mole CaCO3. Now I just need to cancel my units that are on the top and the bottom. I'm left with moles NaCl. That's where I wanted to get to. And I can punch this in my calculator. Top, divide by bottom. 114 times 1 times 2, divide by 100.9, divide by 1 equals, and that gets the answer, 2.28 moles of NaCl. All right, so the next problem is similar but a little different. For this one, first we have to balance the equation. We have H2O yields H2 plus O2. Let's see, I have 2 H's, but 1 O and 2 on the other side, so I put a 2 in front. It gives me 2 oxygen on each side. And also 4 hydrogen, so I put a 2 in front of H2, and now I'm balanced. So I have 1.80 moles O2 produced. What mass of water reacted? My given is 1.8 moles O2. Unknown is mass of water. So I'm going to start with my given, 1.80 moles O2. I'm going to set up my conversion. I'm going to drag down moles of O2, but not the number, just the unit. I'm trying to get to grams of H2O, but I don't know how many grams H2O are in a mole of O2. So I'm going to have to get to an intermediate step. I'm going to have to go to moles H2O because I'm going to put a 1 up there, I forgot it earlier, because I know that 2 moles of water makes 1 mole of O2. So I can put moles H2O up there. So I'm not done yet because I'm not at grams of water, so I'm going to have to drag down mole H2O. Then from the periodic table, I know how many grams H2O are in a mole of H2O. And I'm going to add that up real quick. So on the periodic table, if you look at H, there's 2 of them in H2O. So H is 1.006, so that, or 1.008, so 2 times 1.008, 1 oxygen, 16. Add that up and you'll get 18.016 grams per mole. We'll use that in just a little while to plug in. Okay, so now let's look at the middle column and we'll plug the numbers in there and then we'll come back to the end column. Middle column, it's moles and moles. So we want to look at the balanced equation. 2 moles H2O make 1 mole O2. Now we look at the last column. 1 mole H2O has a mass of 18.016 grams. Notice this 1 does not have to be 2. And that's because this number down here does not necessarily have to be the same number as here. Okay, I went ahead and canceled my units that are on the top and the bottom. Top times top times top, divide by bottom, and punch that in the calculator. So 1.80 times 2 times 18.016, divide by 1, and that equals 64.9 grams of H2O. Okay, so the things to watch out for these problems. Make sure you know where you're starting. So make sure you know your number, your unit, and your substance, and where you're trying to go. Keep going until you get to where you're trying to go. And just know you might have several steps in the middle. The balanced equation can help you convert from moles to moles. So moles of one thing to moles of something different. Periodic table can help you go from grams to moles of the same substance.